The Regia Aeronautica deployed dozens of aircraft types during World War II, from sleek Macchi fighters to the legendary SM-79 torpedo bomber and agile Fiat biplanes. This video breaks down every important aircraft they put in the sky. Let's begin with fighter aircraft, the defenders of Italian skies and Mediterranean operations. Fiat CR-42 Falco. The last biplane fighter to see widespread combat, the CR-42 was already obsolete when Italy entered the war. Despite being a generation behind monoplane fighters, it was highly maneuverable and well-loved by its pilots. Italian aces scored numerous victories flying the Falco in North Africa and the Mediterranean, though its open cockpit and lack of armor made it increasingly vulnerable. It represented the end of an era in fighter design. Fiat G50 Freccia. Italy's first monoplane fighter with retractable landing gear and an enclosed cockpit, though many pilots had the canopy removed, preferring open-air flying. Armed with just 2 machine guns, it was undergunned compared to Allied fighters. The G50 saw action in the Spanish Civil War, the invasion of France and North Africa before being relegated to training duties as better fighters arrived. Macchi C200 Saetta. A nimble fighter with excellent maneuverability powered by a radial engine, the C200 was hampered by weak armament of just 2 12.7-meter machine guns. However, its robust construction and agility made it competitive in dogfights. Italian pilots achieved respectable success with the Saetta in North Africa and the Mediterranean, proving that pilot skill could overcome technical disadvantages. Macchi C202 Folgore. The Lightning was Italy's best mass-produced fighter and a significant leap forward. Powered by a German Daimler-Benz inline engine built under license, the C202 combined speed, climb rate, and excellent handling. Allied pilots who encountered it were surprised by its performance. With better armament, it could have been truly outstanding. The Folgore fought with distinction in North Africa, Malta, and the Eastern Front. Macchi C205 Veltro. Arriving late in the war, the Greyhound was arguably Italy's finest fighter. Powered by the same engine as the Bf-109G and armed with German 20mm cannons, it could match the best Allied fighters. German and Allied pilots both praised its performance. Too few were built to change Italy's fortunes, but it demonstrated what Italian designers could achieve with proper engines and armament. Regia Aeronautica 2000 Falco II. An excellent fighter that the Regia Aeronautica initially rejected in favor of the Macchi designs, though it found success with export customers. Sweden and Hungary operated it effectively. The RE 2000 featured good performance and handling, but political and industrial decisions limited its Italian service primarily to defensive duties and naval operations. Regia Aeronautica 2001 Falco II. Fitted with the same German engine as the C202, the RE 2001 became a capable fighter bomber. It could carry a respectable bomb load while maintaining good performance. The type saw extensive service in Sicily and southern Italy, conducting both air defense and ground attack missions against Allied forces during the Italian campaign. Regia Aeronautica 2005 Sagittario. Italy's ultimate piston engine fighter, the Sagittario could match the Mustang and late-model Spitfires in performance. Heavily armed with 3 20mm cannons and 2 machine guns, it arrived too late and in too few numbers. Post-war evaluations by German and Allied test pilots ranked it among the finest fighters of the entire war. Only 48 were built before Italy's surrender. Caproni Visola F5. An unconventional fighter with a pusher propeller configuration, the F5 showed promise in testing but never reached operational service. It represented Italian innovation, but manufacturing priorities and the collapse of 1943 prevented it from contributing to the war effort. Next on the list is bomber and attack aircraft, Italy's offensive striking power. Savoia-Marchetti SM-79 Sparviero. The Sparrowhawk was Italy's most famous bomber and widely considered the best torpedo bomber of the entire war. This distinctive 3-engine aircraft with its humpbacked fuselage sank more Allied ships than any other Axis aircraft. SM-79 torpedo bombers devastated Mediterranean convoys, attacking at wave-top height with skill and courage. British sailors learned to respect and fear the appearance of Sparviero formations. It also served as a conventional bomber throughout the Mediterranean and North African campaigns. Savoia-Marchetti SM-81 Pipistrello. The Bat was an older 3-engine bomber that saw extensive service despite being obsolete. Its corrugated metal skin and fixed landing gear marked it as a 1930s design, but it served reliably as a bomber, transport, and ambulance aircraft throughout Italian East Africa and the Mediterranean. Many were converted to transport duty as newer bombers arrived. Fiat BR-20 Cicogna. The Stork was Italy's most modern medium bomber at the war's start, a sleek twin-engine design that participated in the Battle of Britain alongside the Luftwaffe. However, it proved vulnerable to modern fighters and suffered heavy losses. Inadequate defensive armament and limited bomb load hampered its effectiveness. Most were withdrawn from frontline service after disappointing results. Cant Z1007 Alcione. A three-engine medium bomber with distinctive wooden construction, the Kingfisher featured elegant lines and reasonable performance. It served throughout the Mediterranean, conducting raids on Malta, Allied shipping, and North African targets. While not outstanding in any particular area, it proved reliable and served until Italy's surrender. Caproni Cub 135, a twin-engine medium bomber that saw limited service, the Cab 135 suffered from poor performance and handling issues. Most Italian examples served in secondary roles, though export versions fought with the Hungarian Air Force on the Eastern Front. It represented the challenges Italian aviation faced with underpowered engines. Piaggio P108. Italy's only four-engine heavy bomber, the P108 was an impressive achievement for Italian industry. Comparable to the B-17 in size, it could carry a substantial bomb load over long ranges. Some variants mounted a remote-controlled dorsal turret, an advanced feature for the time. Production remained limited, with only 24 built. Several conducted daring long-range raids against British targets in Gibraltar. Tragically, one crashed carrying Bruno Mussolini, the dictator's son. Moving on to reconnaissance and maritime patrol aircraft, Caproni K311, a twin-engine reconnaissance bomber used extensively in North Africa and the Mediterranean. Light and fast for a reconnaissance aircraft, it provided valuable intelligence throughout the Italian campaigns. Its light armament made it vulnerable to fighters, but its speed often allowed it to escape interception. Imam Row 37, a biplane reconnaissance aircraft that seemed outdated but proved surprisingly effective in North Africa. Its rugged construction and ability to operate from rough airstrips made it valuable for tactical reconnaissance. The Row 37 served throughout the North African campaign, providing essential intelligence to Italian ground forces. Imam Row 43, a seaplane fighter and reconnaissance aircraft launched from catapults aboard Italian warships. The Row 43 provided the Italian Navy with eyes beyond the horizon, spotting enemy ships and directing naval gunfire. Its biplane configuration limited performance, but it served adequately in its specialized role throughout the Mediterranean naval campaign. Cant Z-Foil 506 Aeron, a three-engine seaplane used for maritime reconnaissance, air-sea rescue, and bombing. The Heron featured elegant lines and could remain airborne for extended patrols over the Mediterranean. It rescued numerous downed Italian and German airmen from the sea, earning respect for its humanitarian missions. Armed versions conducted anti-shipping and anti-submarine patrols. Cant Z501 Gabbiano, an older single-engine seaplane that served throughout the war despite its obsolescence. The Seagull conducted maritime patrol and air-sea rescue missions across the Mediterranean. Its long endurance made it useful for patrol work, though it was vulnerable to Allied fighters. Many crews owed their lives to Gabbiano rescues. Next on the list is ground attack and specialized aircraft. Breda Ba 65, an attack aircraft and light bomber designed for close air support. The BA-65 featured a distinctive design with radial engine and glazed nose. It saw action in the Spanish Civil War and the invasion of France, but proved vulnerable to modern fighters. Most were withdrawn after suffering heavy losses in North Africa. Breda Ba 88 Lynx, one of the war's greatest disappointments, the Lynx looked impressive and set speed records before the war. However, when fitted with military equipment and armor, its performance collapsed catastrophically. Unable to take off with full fuel and weapons, most were abandoned on North African airfields or used as decoys. It became a symbol of Italian aviation's struggles with underpowered engines. Finally, we have transport and training aircraft. Savoia-Marchetti SM-82 Kanguro, a large three-engine transport that became Italy's workhorse cargo aircraft. The Kangaroo could carry troops, supplies, or serve as a bomber in emergencies. It supplied Axis forces in North Africa, flew evacuation missions, and served throughout the Mediterranean. Its reliability made it invaluable for logistics operations. Fiat G12, a three-engine transport aircraft used for moving troops and supplies. Based on a civil airliner design, the G12 served reliably throughout Italian operations. Some were modified as bombers, though transport remained its primary role. Several continued flying after the war in civilian service. Caproni K100, a simple biplane trainer that taught thousands of Italian pilots the basics of flight. Rugged and forgiving, the C100 was ideal for initial flight training. Its reliability and ease of maintenance made it the foundation of Italian pilot training throughout the war. Macchi C200 trainer variants. Older Saetta fighters were converted to advanced trainers, allowing student pilots to gain experience with high-performance aircraft before transitioning to frontline fighters. This preserved combat aircraft for operational units while maintaining pilot training quality. The Regia Aeronautica deployed dozens of aircraft types in World War II. From Macchi fighters and SM-79 torpedo bombers to seaplanes and trainers. Despite facing superior numbers and often better equipment, Italian pilots fought with skill and courage across the Mediterranean, North Africa, and beyond.